Right then, welcome everybody to round 12 of FVC Season 4. This week we are out at Brazil. It's the second time in recent years this track has been run for the FVC. Hopefully this will end a lot better than the last time we ran it. 18 minutes of qualifying now awaits these drivers, 14 on the grid today. We've heard from a couple of drivers before we started in a pre-race interview, sharing their predictions for pole position and potentially the race winner. So let's watch this qualifying session and see how they do. One of the drivers at the front of the queue at the moment is the Williams of Sam Drives. Going with his usual tactic, it seems, of doing a couple of laps on the medium tyre first, then switching to the soft tyre as the track warms up, although there's a bit of a... That was odd. Looks like some potential mind games being played with the drivers now, but we will ride on board with the Williams of Sam Drives as he begins his first flying lap on those medium tyres. Nicely through the first couple of corners, hitting those apexes nicely. DRS now opens down the straight, making it around about the 50 metre board, clipping that apex nicely on the inside. Going out nice and wide, getting ready for the right-hander now. Very nice line from Sam Drives so far, as we can see. As we already have a retirement, Saskia Moll in the AlphaTauri has already retired. Just a couple of minutes into this qualifying session, no lap time set for her. Seems to have been some issue there that we've missed. Quite a nice tidy first lap here for Sam Drives, just a banker, get a lap time on the board, and then we'll see how much he can improve on. So our first lap time is a 108.76, quickly beaten by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. It's a 107.4 now. Bla Yapper in the AlphaTauri slips into second place on those soft compound tyres. Third place now with a 108.1. Treeboy in the Ferrari also on the soft compound tyres, only the second driver to break into those 107s. As we see Jim Bobster now come across the line. Another one of those drivers on the medium compound tyres to start. It's a 108.4, so just quicker than Sam Drives. Only good enough for P4 at this current moment. Here we see FV Pixels on his first flying lap on those soft compound tyres again. The red marked soft compound, around the final corner he comes. Let's see what he can do. That lap was good enough to put him into P5. That is a 108.4 for the Aston Martin of FV Pixels. Who are we going to have next across the line? Looks like it's going to be the other Aston Martin driver, your current Drivers' Championship leader, LS Apex, also on those medium compound tyres as he boards the lap. Let's see the Alfa Romeo of LS Unku on his first flying lap now coming across the line. Let's see what he can do. Puts him into P7 with a 109.3. There'll be some time to find there for the Alfa Romeo driver. Let's ride on board with our current provisional pole sitter, POR Ben 12 in the Alfa Romeo. Current best lap of a 107.4. Let's see what he can do. course, POR Ben on those soft compound tyres, giving them the maximum amount of grip that's available. As he comes across the line, he slows down, not wanting to improve his lap by the looks of things. And there's another very nice lap there. We spoke to him just before the qualifying session started as he's into the wall now. The commentator's curse strikes again. As I was about to say, we talked to him just before the qualifying session started. He said he was feeling quite good after his podium last time out at Mexico, and you can see that out here now. In second place currently with a 107.8. Alright, let's ride on board with Harrison M in the Red Bull on those medium compound tyres, see what he can do for his first flying lap. Currently in P10 with no lap times set. Opting to take a bit of a tighter line through that section of the track. Obviously less grip on those medium compound tyres, but we'll give him the alternate strategies. He gets a bit of oversteer coming out of that corner. Clips the grass into the entrance of the next corner. A couple of small mistakes now from the Red Bull driver. Let's see what he can do with his first flying lap. As he is choosing to abort that lap. I believe this will be the end of Sam Drive's first flying lap on those soft compound tyres. Let's see what kind of a lap he can do. There we go, there's the pace that we are expecting to see from the man that is currently second in the Drivers' Championship. Currently P2 with a 107.7. It's probably a little bit of time to find in that lap there. He's going to need to find some time if he wants to stick it on pole position, which is still currently occupied by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. Both McLaren drivers now on an outlap. Let's ride on board with the McLaren of F1 SV5 for his first flying lap on those soft compound tyres. Looks like he is actually opting for a second warm-up lap. He's actually invalidated this lap already. Let's have a look there now. On board with Ferrari of Jim Bobster, currently in P2 with a 107.5. Jim Bobster was one of our predicted drivers for pole position here today, so let's see what he can do. Clipping a little bit of grass there through that section of the track. Setting up a nice entrance into the next section. Let's see what he can do. Looks like he is opting to abort that lap, however. Here we go then. Now, F1 SV5, first flying lap on those soft compound tyres. Nicely through the first section, carrying a decent amount of speed through there onto the straight. Let's see what he can do. His DRS is open, braking at the 50 metre board. Down to fourth gear, nice out wide, carrying speed. See what kind of a lap the McLaren driver can put on the board for his first lap. He did have that second warm-up lap on those soft compound tyres, so let's see how much of an advantage that's going to give him in terms of grip. He seems to be doing well so far. So there's an Aston Martin on the side of the track. Nice and smooth, taking the shortest run to the line. It will be a 107.7 for the McLaren driver, slotting him into position 5 on the grid so far. Very nice lap for him. We'll ride on board with the second McLaren driver, SOG and Impulse now. Already got a 107.8 on the board as he now comes into the pits. We'll swap back to F1 SV5, who does appear to be going for a second push lap on these tyres. Let's see if he can improve. Currently P6 for the McLaren driver. Catching a little bit of grass there, forcing him to oversteer just a little bit, not being able to put the grip down coming out of that corner. He's about a 10th down on his personal best lap so far. Rear end of that car just not quite gripping up like he wants it to, as yet he will choose to abort that lap. Save the tyres, not put any additional wear on, not put any more wear than he needs to on those tyres. This is a fairly close qualifying session at the moment. It's P4 down to pretty much P8, all four of those drivers not separated by that much really. Lap time's very close so far, most drivers into the 107s, top 8 drivers all with a 107. Still 5 minutes left in this qualifying session, plenty of time for drivers to improve on their laps. Provisional pole position still held by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo with a 107.41. We'll see what he can do. We'll see whether anyone can beat that lap. Have a look at Jim Bobster in the Ferrari. Third place currently for him, a 107.56, not that far off. As he comes through the final section of the track now, let's see what kind of a lap he can set. As he comes into the pits to abort that lap. Right on board with the second Ferrari now, Tree Boy. Fresh set of soft compound tyres on that Ferrari. Carrying a lot of speed through that first section of the track there. Maximising track limits. He's currently sitting in P4 just behind his Ferrari teammate. As we go into Sector 2 now, let's see what he can do with this lap. So 107.7 currently for Tree Boy. Very nice line so far through this section of the track. He seems to be getting that grip put down exactly how he wants it to. He's about 4.5 tenths better than his personal best so far as he comes into Sector 3. This could be a very exciting lap indeed. Around the final corner he comes. And across the line it will be provisional pole position for Tree Boy with a 107.23. We have a new provisional pole sitter. It is Tree Boy 53 in the Ferrari with a very nice lap indeed. We'll see if anyone else can beat that. We'll see if the Alfa Romeo of POR Ben decides to come back out for another challenge. See if LS Apex can find some pace. LS Apex currently down in P13 with a 108.9. Not where the championship leader hopes to be for this qualifying session. All right on board with the Haas of A. Williams now. He's currently sitting in P3 with a 107.55. Let's see what he can do, as there's a bit of traffic in front of him now. He's currently 0.2 better than his personal best lap time. He's getting a bit of a toe off the McLaren, with Sojin Impulse in front of him. Shortest run to the line, he takes it, and it will be P2 for A. Williams in the Haas with a 107.27. Very nice lap for him. Just making sure he gets out of the way now of traffic. We'll have a look at Sam drives. He's currently sitting in P5, fresh set of soft compound tyres on the Williams. It's currently his personal best, a 107.73. He is 4.5 tenths nearly better than his personal best though, so this will be a good lap for him indeed if he can keep it together as he comes through the final section of the track. What can he do? Around the final corner he goes. That will promote the Williams driver into P4 with a 107.48. Solid lap for him. LS Apex has improved into P11 with a 108.4. Here we go then, as this qualifying session comes to an end. We've got POR Ben on a lap right now, looking to potentially get his provisional pole position back. Let's see what he can do. Currently, as he comes into the third sector of the track, the timing screen showing plus 6 thousandths of a second, so not quicker than his personal best so far. As he will stay P3. Only a few drivers left out on track now that can possibly deny him provisional pole. Sam drives 42 on a flying lap right now. P4 for him with a 107.48. What can he do with this final flying lap? Nice line from the Williams driver so far. Just trying to maximise track limits where he can. As he heads into sector 3 now, with the timing screen showing plus 1/10.5, so he is 1/10.5 slower than his personal best. That is not what he would have wanted. Jim Bobster will come across the line. He will stay P5. And our qualifying order is set. Your pole sitter is Treeboy53 in the Ferrari, followed by A. Williams in the Haas, closely followed by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. Alright, the cars are lining up on grid now for us to start the formation lap here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Quite an exciting qualifying session, as the top 10 drivers almost being separated by about 1/10.5 to 2/10. There's not a huge amount of time in it. Not the greatest qualifying session for your championship leader either, currently down in, last I checked, P11 for the Aston Martin, not where he would have wanted to be. As his closest rival Sam drives is in P4. So welcome everyone to the Brazilian Grand Prix. This is round 12 of season 4. We have 14 drivers here today. After a very exciting qualifying session, we're now heading into the formation lap where we are about to start 36 laps of racing. Last time we did this track back in season 3, it did not go the best, so we're hoping for much better luck out here today. Hopefully the commentator's curse doesn't strike, hopefully we have some good luck, hopefully we have some close racing, and hopefully a race free from technical issues. If we just look at the results again as they come onto the formation lap, we see Treeboy 53 as your pole sitter, followed by A. Williams, my ex-co-commentator, in the Haas in P2. POR Ben 12 in the Alfa Romeo lines up P3. Second position in the championship, Sam Drives 42 in the Williams, lining up on P4 on the grid. Jim Bobster in the Ferrari, lining up on P5. The McLaren of F1 SV5 lines up in position 6. FV Pixels, the first of those first of the Aston Martin drivers, lining up in P7. The second McLaren, SOG and Impulse, in P8. P9 is Harrison M in the Red Bull. P10 will be Bly Yappa in the AlphaTauri. P11 will be LS Apex, your current Drivers' Championship leader. P12, Reyes Verde in the Alpine, currently P12. LS Unku in P13, the second Alfa Romeo. And here we go then. The lights come on now. It's 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go for the start of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Ferrari gets away well, but it does look like he's been done into the first corner. He has. A. Williams 43 in the Haas there. Overtakes into the first corner as there's carnage already. As a McLaren round at the first corner, this is not what we would have wanted, but look at your championship leader, LS Apex 66, currently up into P6 now from P11 on the grid. What a start for the Aston Martin driver. So let's see what we've got. Not the start that our pole sitter Treeboy would have wanted. He's been overtaken by the Haas of A. Williams, who is still ahead. A. Williams pulling a bit of a gap now as well. Saying in his pre-race interview he felt confident after his podium last time out in Mexico, and that is certainly showing today. Fastest lap currently sits with the Haas driver at 1:14.78. As the Aston Martin of FV Pixels dives into the pits early, presumably some damage on that Aston Martin. We saw him drop places at the start of the race, which is not what he would have wanted. Some fairly close racing here in the mid-pack, all drivers quite close together now. All the way down to P8. There's a bit of a scrap going on here between LS Apex and F1 SV5 and the McLaren. It looks like the McLaren has lost out. He's now been overtaken by Harrison M in the Red Bull. That's right on board with Treeboy now, as he is going to look to make a move on your race leader as they make a bit of contact now into the first corner as DRS now gets enabled. That's going to lose him some time. Hopefully no damage on that Ferrari. So he will open DRS now as he is under threat from POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. POR Ben hangs it round the outside. He makes an absolutely brilliant move on Treeboy in the Ferrari. as he is chasing down this race lead. He wants this race lead. He is going for it. He's giving 110% here. 3 laps into this race, and he is going for it. Just over 4/10 now separate POR Ben and your race leader A. Williams in the Haas. Treeboy unfortunately losing positions now from pole down to P3. He's now under threat from the Williams of Sam Drives now, who will have DRS on him into this main straight. Let's see what he can do into turn 1. Is he going to make a move, or is he just going to stay quite close behind the Ferrari driver? As POR Ben has now made a move for the lead. They're going side by side now. There's a bit of wheel bashing going on now. A. Williams back into the lead. POR Ben side by side with him. They're going side by side all the way down the straight. The Sam Drives has now got past Treeboy in the Ferrari as well. These two making contact again. A. Williams pushed out wide. Going for the inside of the corner now, but there is no room for him, as POR Ben is having to back out for his own safety. He may have had to back out of that move, but he is certainly not giving up. He is looking left, right, inside, outside, just trying to find a way past A. Williams in the Haas. He will 100% have DRS on the Haas car as we head onto the main straight, so what can he do? He will have the speed advantage as he now goes down the inside. He'll be ahead going into turn 1, but will he stay ahead? Yes, he will. As there is another move happening as well. Sam Drives in the Williams, trying to find a way past A. Williams in the Haas. These two going side by side. Sam Drives being pushed right off track by the Haas of A. Williams. There's contact again as these two come together again and again, and Sam Drives is round! Sam Drives and A. Williams have come together and they are both round. Both cars have spun. Absolute disaster for your second place driver in the championship so far. He's coming together with the Haas of A. Williams. These two fighting very close for P2 and P3. Neither one of them giving an inch. And unfortunately, Sam Drives just losing out there. Well, both cars losing out on positions. Both cars spinning. Hopefully both cars staying free from any damage. But we'll ride back on board now with the Aston Martin of LS Apex from P11 on the grid, now into P2. What a drive from the Aston Martin so far. He is your Drivers' Championship leader, and right now he is showing you exactly why he is in the lead of that Drivers' Championship. He is hunting down POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. Lap by lap, he is getting closer. He is going to look for a way past now. He does not want to be stuck behind POR Ben for much longer. These two fairly even on pace. Apex leading the championship. POR Ben currently P4 in the championship. You can guarantee these two are going to give it absolutely everything they have. We'll have another look now with the McLaren of F1 SV5. He is looking at hunting down Treeboy. He will have DRS on the Ferrari now as we go into the main straight. But is he close enough to make a move? I think he's just a little bit too far back. Although it appears that the Ferrari doesn't have DRS. It appears that Treeboy in front of him hasn't activated his DRS that he would have had on LS Apex in the Aston Martin. Apex getting a little bit out of shape there through the first section of corners, getting a bit of oversteer, not taking quite the line he would have wanted, but he is still right on the back of POR Ben. Both drivers here maximising track limits as much as humanly possible. Little bit of a lock-up for LS Apex now. Just a couple of tenths now lost to POR Ben. Still within DRS range, and he would want to keep it that way. As soon as he's out of DRS range, POR Ben may well just check out. Which is not what Apex wants. Apex is going to want to hang on to the back of him for as many laps as possible. He will have DRS now on the Alfa Romeo, but he's not quite close enough to make a move into turn 1. We switch back to the point of view of the McLaren now, F1 SV5, making a move on Tree Boy in the Ferrari. He is passed into P3 now. Nice move from F1 SV5 in the McLaren, but not too much of a defence from Tree Boy. Not quite going to plan for Tree Boy so far, from pole then into P4 currently. Now the McLaren driver is going to try and just tag onto the back of this battle for the lead. Just try and get DRS onto the back of LS Apex so he can just get pulled along by these two drivers in front. And I believe he might have just done it. 9 tenths is the gap so far. And he's got DRS on the back of LS Apex. That's just going to drag him along just a little bit. He's not anywhere near close enough to make a move into turn 1, but he will get much closer than he was before. He's getting about 3-4 tenths now on LS Apex. Sitting comfortably in P3 so far. Let's have a look at Sam Drives. How is he recovering after that spin earlier on? He's in P7. He hasn't pitted yet, which would indicate to me that he didn't sustain any damage from that collision with A. Williams in the Haas, which is good for him. But still, down in P7 now, which is not what he would have wanted. He has the pace to recover, but we'll see what happens. Still a long way to go in this race yet. We've got a little bit of a train forming here. We've got A. Williams in the Haas, LS Unku in the Alfa Romeo, Jim Bobster in the Ferrari, and on the back of it all is Sojin Impulse in the McLaren, currently sitting in P11. Not the best start for him. A little bit of contact at the start, it seems. He's just got to settle in now, find a comfortable rhythm, and just try and stay in DRS range of the drivers ahead so he can just get pulled along and stay with the pack. Let's check back in now on your battle for the lead. LS Apex hunting down POR Ben. The gap is about the same, 4.5 to 5 tenths. Not a huge gap between these two drivers. But it doesn't look like Apex is in a particular rush to get past POR Ben. It seems as though he is happy to just stay in the DRS range, just get towed along by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. These two drivers, as we've already said, fairly equal on pace. So we'll see what happens here. So we are getting our first pit stops now. F1 SV5 first into the pits, followed by Tree Boy and Harrison M. It will be medium compound tyres for most, I do believe. 10 laps, 11 laps almost on those soft compound tyres, so decent start for them. We'll see how far they can take these mediums. And there is your first penalty as well. Saskia Moll in the AlphaTauri is getting a 3-second time penalty now for exceeding track limits, multiple warnings. She's had a bit of an incident of her own there, it seems. So there's another yellow flag. That does appear to be one of the AlphaTauri's, Saskia Moll perhaps. Two more drivers into the pits now, A. Williams and Sojin Impulse. Williams opting for those hard compound tyres. And now your race leader is pitting as well. POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo now comes into the pits on lap 12. LS Apex stays out. LS Apex now takes the race lead from POR Ben. He will still have to serve a pit stop. As F1 SV5 comes into the pits now for a second time, something's happened to him. Looking at potentially a strategy change. There's a bit of a battle here going on. POR Ben versus Jim Bobster in the Ferrari for P3 currently. POR Ben on those fresh mediums just out of the pits. Jim Bobster on old softs, about 12 laps old. POR Ben just sends it down the inside. Makes a lovely move on Jim Bobster. That will put him into P3 now. As LS Apex, your race leader, does now come into the pits. So will POR Ben have been able to pull off the successful undercut? Or will Apex still come out ahead of him? Apex, of course, opting for those medium compound tyres as well. It does look like POR Ben might have been able to pull off that undercut. And he has. He's up into P2 now. He has undercut your Drivers' Championship leader, LS Apex, who is now down into P4. Your race leader currently, Bla Yappa, one of only 3 drivers not to stop so far this race. Here we are, then there's another battle happening here. A. Williams versus F1 SV5. McLaren versus Haas. Hards versus mediums. Let's see what we can get here. Williams not getting the best exit out of that corner now, losing just a little bit of time to F1 SV5. So Apex now makes it past Jim Bobster into P3 now for the Aston Martin driver. As your current race leader, Bla Yappa, does now come into the pits, which will promote POR Ben into the race lead and LS Apex into P2. Jim Bobster still stuck to the back of LS Apex in the Aston Martin now. Let's see what he can do. He's within DRS range. Will he try and make a move on that Aston Martin driver? Or will he opt to stay behind? Of course, Apex and Jim Bobster, both part of the Lightspeed esports team. So there may have been some private conversations going on here, potentially asking for good friends not to fight too hard, as Apex is trying to win the Drivers' Championship currently, and he is comfortably in the lead. There is still a chance both Sam Drives and POR Ben could take it. There's a 3 or 4 car train that we've got forming now. So LS Apex, Jim Bobster, Harrison M and Treeboy just on the back of that train now. All trying to catch up to POR Ben in the lead. The gap between your race leader and second place is currently about 2.5 seconds. There's a yellow flag as Saskia Moll has DNF'd after her pit stop, and that will bring out the first safety car of this race. Lap 15 of 36, and we are under the safety car now. An unfortunate DNF for her. Not having the best race start, it seems, and then unfortunately adding to that with a DNF. And there we go, Jim Bobster, your final driver yet to pit this race, now comes into the pits after 15 laps on those soft compound tyres. This is timed perfectly for the Ferrari driver. Of course, under the safety car he will get a reduced stop, as he now opts for those hard compound tyres as well. The third driver on the grid currently to be using those hards, as there's a couple more people coming back into the pits now. Reyes Verde in the Alpine, FV Pixels in the Aston Martin, and A. Williams in the Haas now coming in as well. We will have a look now at position changes. So, your race leader, P.O. Ben 12, up 2 positions from his grid start. Your second place driver, LS Apex, up 9 positions from his grid start. P3, Harrison M in the Red Bull, up 6 positions from where he qualified. Tree Boy in P4, of course your pole sitter out here today, down 3 positions from where he qualified. Blah Yapper, P5 for the AlphaTauri driver, up 5 positions from his grid start. That will be good for him. Sam Drives, P6 for the Williams driver, currently down 2 positions from where he qualified. Not what the second place driver in the championship would have been looking for from this race. Unfortunate bit of contact there between him and A. Williams and the Haas, sent both cars spinning earlier on this race. F1 SV5 in the McLaren, P7 for him currently, down 1 position from his grid start. His teammate just behind, SOGN Impulse, P8 for the McLaren. He's currently equaling his grid starting position. Jim Bobster in the Ferrari pitting again now, down 4 positions from his grid start. Reyes Verde 81 in the Alpine, up 2 positions from where he qualified. FV Pixels, the second of your Aston Martin cars, down 4 positions from where he qualified. The biggest loser so far, A. Williams 43 in the Haas, down 10 positions from where he qualified. Of course, second place on the grid for the Haas driver and my ex-co-commentator. An unfortunate incident, as we've said, between him and Sam Drives. He has now dropped quite a few positions. Finally, rounding out your 13 drivers left running in this race so far, it is LS Unku in P13, who has equalled his current grid starting position. We'll have a couple of laps now, just under the safety car. Alright, as the cars all stack up now behind the safety car, we are on lap 18 of 36 now. Let's see what's going to happen at this safety car restart. Hopefully not too many more laps behind the safety car now. There's a bit of an incident there, it seems, for Sam Drives. if we have a look at the tyres currently, all drivers currently on those medium compound tyres, apart from Bla Yappa and Reyes Verde on those hard compound tyres. And then we see the message from race control saying the safety car is in this lap. You can see both LS Apex and POR Ben just getting some warmth into their tyres now, trying to get that grip for the race restart. It'll be POR Ben to control the pace as the safety car is in, and he is away. POR Ben now puts foot to floor into turn 1. Let's see what Apex can do. How close can he stay through this first section of the track? There's an incident there for Bla Yappa. Bla Yappa has spun. Not ideal for the AlphaTauri driver after that restart. Not the restart he would have wanted. There's absolute carnage. Sam drives in an incident again. Jim Bobster into the wall now. FV Pixel's losing positions as well. What is happening? Quite a chaotic safety car restart so far, but no more DNFs as it currently stands. We still have 13 of our 14 drivers running in this race. Of course, no DRS now, as we've just come out from running behind the safety car. No DRS for a couple of laps yet, but the cars are still in a train. Let's check in on your battle for the lead, still between POR Ben and LS Apex, your championship leader. The gap about 5/10 so far. These two still sticking together, as they have been for most of this race so far. It appears there's a couple of potential battles that are about to begin here. We see F1 SV5 on the back of Treeboy, and A. Williams on the back of him. Race control has now enabled DRS. Fastest lap now. Jim Bobster in the Ferrari. There's more contact by the looks of things. Drivers losing places. There are quite a few separate battles going on here, but if we have a look at this one, F1 SV5 versus Treeboy. The fight for P4 currently. Just a couple of tenths back from the front runners there. POR Ben in the lead, LS Apex in second, Harrison M in third. Let's see what these drivers can do. A. Williams now tagging onto the back of F1 SV5. You see Treeboy in front of F1 SV5, the red light blinking on the back of that Ferrari, meaning he is out of ERS now. He doesn't have any ERS left to defend. And the McLaren will have DRS as we go down the second straight. He is passed up into P4 now, down the inside. Not a huge amount of defence from Treeboy, but he is past him nonetheless. This Treeboy has also now been passed by A. Williams. And Treeboy's spun now. Disaster strikes for the Ferrari. Your pole sitter here today at the Brazilian Grand Prix. He has spun. That is really not what he would have wanted at all. It's unfortunate for him, but he'll certainly keep going now. There's no way he's giving up. P12. Still the potential for points on the board for him. Take another look at your battle for the lead. POR Ben versus LS Apex. The gap even closer now. Just 3/10 separate these two drivers. Those FV Pixels now gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Tree Boy now comes into the pits, quite possibly getting damaged from that incident he had earlier. There's another incident there, it seems like, with the House of A. Williams. There's a brief yellow flag there for him. This A. Williams is now getting a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He's losing positions now. So too is the Aston Martin of FV Pixels. It seems like these two might have come together. There's a yellow flag there in Sector 2. Both drivers dropping down your timing screen now. LS Apex now. DRS on POR Ben. They're getting closer and closer. Apex sends it down the inside. POR Ben just about gives him enough room. Apex looking for a switchback, defended beautifully by POR Ben. He is not letting him past. Here we go again. Apex round the outside. They make contact, bashing wheels now as they head through the turn. POR Ben not letting Apex past. Apex having to fight this with everything he's got now to try and find a way past the Alfa Romeo. They're currently sitting in the lead. There seems to be a fair amount of respect between these two drivers out on track at the moment, just about giving each other as much room as they have to give, but not too much room. Nice defending from both, POR Ben out front especially, defending that switchback from Apex quite nicely. No moves made into turn 1 this time. Apex just a little bit too far back from POR Ben. If we go one car back from the battle, we see Harrison M in the Red Bull with DRS onto the back of LS Apex. Still just tagging along to the fight for the lead currently. What can the Red Bull driver do? Of course, Apex pitting just one lap later than his rival POR Ben, meaning he has 1 lap fresher tyres than the Alfa Romeo in front. 12 laps versus 11 laps. Harrison M behind them, 13 laps old. Of course, most drivers still on the medium compound tyres. Both McLarens so far the only drivers to be running those soft compounds. About 11 laps left to this race now. We'll see if they can hold the softs to the end. Looks like there could be another overtaking move starting to come together here for LS Apex. He was absolutely stuck to the back of POR Ben 12 as they head through the first corner. F1 SV5, there you go. Those soft compound tyres paying off for him, taking fastest lap with a 109.1. course, Apex still within DRS range, but your race leader, POR Ben, has dived into the pits on lap 27. So too is Harrison M in P3. LS Apex currently takes the lead of your race. Sam Drives also coming into the pits now. You see F1 SV5 with another fastest lap now. You see it's soft compound tyres for all three. Of course, taking inspiration potentially from the McLaren pairing, both drivers running those soft compounds for 2 laps now. Those drivers certainly taking a look at that, seeing how well the softs are working, and looking to try that strategy for themselves. The mediums just not quite having enough life to go to the end. Even with that safety car period, they just would not have been able to make it to the end of this race. Which leads you to believe that your current race leader, LS Apex, will have to come into the pits at one point. It won't be this lap for the Aston Martin driver. He still stays out. He's maintaining that race lead. 7 seconds currently between him and P2. Very, very comfortable lead for him so far. So we see a move here. F1 SV5 down the outside of Reyes-Verde in the Alpine. Promotes him into P3. A lovely move there from the McLaren. Those soft compound tyres seeming to work very well for him so far. Certainly seems to have the grip advantage over some of the drivers. We see another move going on here. POR Ben on Reyes-Verde as well. POR Ben also on those soft compound tyres, just a couple of laps fresher, hunting down the McLaren now. He'll send one down the inside. The McLaren of F1 SV5 appears to back out of that move, not wanting to defend too much. The McLaren's still on the back of the Alfa Romeo though. This is not done yet. We have a brief yellow flag caused by the Alfa Romeo of LS Omku, losing just a couple of positions. There really have been some close battles so far. Battles for the final podium spots, battles for the lead, battle for pole position, battle for fastest lap now as POR Ben takes it away from the McLaren of F1 SV5. He will still have DRS though, as Harrison M is also hunting him down. Fresher soft tyres for that Red Bull. You can see the pace difference that we have currently. Those soft compound tyres seem to be dropping off the edge after only a couple of laps. F1 SV5 going backwards, it seems. He was absolutely lighting up the timing screens after a couple of laps putting those soft compound tyres on, but it seems like they might have dropped off the edge already. The McLaren driver being on those tyres for only 4, almost 5 laps. He's just been overtaken twice by cars on those fresher soft compound tyres. Of course, POR Ben chasing down the lead. He's going to want to chase down LS Apex now. Is there enough time? Only 6 laps remain of this race, and the gap currently stands at just over 7 seconds. Will he have enough time to catch up to your race leader and your current Drivers' Championship leader as well? There's another move going on here. Reyes-Verde and the McLaren, Pixels side by side with him. Pixels being forced out wide. Sam drives with a 3-second time penalty now. And here we see the first car to be lapped. Your race leader LS Apex about to lap LS Onku. There's a yellow flag. F1 SV5 in the McLaren. DNF. Something's happened to the McLaren. We are under another safety car now. Some issue there that we just didn't see happen to that McLaren. That's a DNF for him. That is not what he would have wanted. He was doing exceptionally well on those soft compound tyres, just staying in the top 5, but unfortunately no luck for him whatsoever today. We are under safety car number 2 of this race, with only 5 laps remaining. A couple of drivers choosing to dive into the pits now. Most opting for those soft compound tyres just for the last couple of laps of this race, just to try and give it everything that they have. Your race leader LS Apex now, choosing to come into the pits as well. A nicely timed safety car from him will give him a reduced pit stop loss to POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo, but POR Ben only a couple of laps behind. And POR Ben will pass him. LS Apex goes down into P3 now, as Harrison M in the Red Bull has passed him as well. Of course, Apex will have the fresher tyres towards the end of this race, but is he going to be able to get past? Apex almost going down into P4 now as he comes out just a little bit ahead of that Alpine. While we're under the safety car, let's just take a quick look at our position changes. POR Ben 12, your race leader in the Alfa Romeo, up 2 positions from his grid start. Harrison M in the Red Bull, P2 currently up 7 positions from where he qualified. LS Apex, P3 for the Aston Martin driver, up 8 positions from where he qualified. Joint with Apex is Reyes Verde in the Alpine, up 8 positions from his grid position. Jim Bobster, P5 for the Ferrari, equaling his grid start so far. Impulse in the McLaren, P6 for him, up 2 positions from where he qualified. FV Pixels, P7 for the second Aston Martin car, equaling his qualifying result. Sam Drives, 42 in the Williams, down 4 positions from his grid start. Bla Yapper, P9 for him, in the AlphaTauri, up 1 position from where he started. Tree Boy, P10 for the second Ferrari driver, of course your pole sitter out here today, down 9 positions from where he started. Joint with him is A. Williams, 43, your second place qualifier, in the Haas, also down 9 positions from where he qualified. Rounding out your 12 drivers still in this race, it is Ellis Unku, up 1 position from where he qualified today. Just seeing if we can potentially get word now we're under the safety car. What happened to F1 SV5 in the McLaren? Of course, not being able to catch that on stream, whatever happened to the McLaren driver. There seemed to be a bit of a lack of grip for him. Lost out a couple of positions. And then sadly DNF'd. Here we are on lap 34 of this 36 lap race, just under a safety car now. Message from race control, safety car in this lap. We are going to get 2 laps of an all-out sprint to the end. LS Apex on the freshest tyres of the pack. This is a 5-second penalty for the Alpine of Reyes Verde for a severe collision with Jim Bobster in the Ferrari. Will be POR Ben to control the pace as these drivers head away for the final 2 laps. LS Apex not hanging around, straight down the inside of Harrison M in the Red Bull. He makes it past. Apex not hanging around at all. He wants this win and he wants it bad. He's going to be chasing down now POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo, who is your lead driver so far. The gap just under 0.4 of a second. There will not be any DRS, of course, just out of that safety car. We're going to have to wait 2 laps. It says a spin for the second McLaren driver. Impulse is round. Something's happened to the McLaren driver. He is round again. Apex getting oversteer out of that corner. Sam Drives now up into P4. Good restart for him. What can Apex do as we head round the final corners now? Ready to start the final lap of the race. What is going to happen with these 2 drivers? The gap just under 3.5 tenths, 3 tenths, 2.5. 2 tenths into turn 1. Apex not close enough to make a move. That does not stop him looking, however. He is all over the back of the Alfa Romeo, just trying to find a way past. POR Ben trying to break the toe. Apex looks for a way past, round the outside. He gets massive oversteer, he gets pushed wide by POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. He gets pushed massively wide by POR Ben in that Alfa Romeo there. Apex just not having any luck there. He is fighting back, 6 tenths the gap, 2P1. This has been a very exciting last couple of laps, I can tell you that. But it just does not look like Apex is close enough, unfortunately, to make a move for the race lead. So across the line, it will be POR Ben to take the win. POR Ben taking the win. LS Apex, your championship leader, going into P2. Treeboy, P3. Sam Drives, P4. Harrison M in the Red Bull, P5 for him. LS Unku, great restart for him. Into P6 now. that was a very exciting last couple of laps there. Of course, POR Ben taking the win. Taking fastest lap as well from P3 on the grid. Very good drive from him today.